Oh, we got some thinking going on the screen, man. We got a Sharpie. We got the head. What's going on? Contemplating next hockey season? Where are we at? What's going on?
Oh, no, not hockey season.
Oh,
OTA started here in Pittsburgh.
did the man show up? The word on the street was Rogers in the house.
He signed. I was going to do like a joke about how I like Rogers because back whenever I was in kindergarten and I couldn't reach the milk I wanted high in the cooler. He got it for me as a fifth grader. But I'm not going to go any age jokes because I am much older than him. But
yeah, 22 years in the league, I think, right?
So our offensive line, a lot of first-round draft picks.
Yeah.
Center, quarterback.
Okay.
Our starting left tackle got injured, so he's out. They put in a replacement. Our starting left guard, he left via free agency. We drafted a tackle, put him on the right tackle. Now he's playing left tackle. Drafted a starting right guard. Now he's playing left guard. We don't know who's going to play here because we have a couple draft picks, and we think maybe the right guard or the one tackle will come over here. I don't know. So realistically, if you've ever seen Monsters versus Aliens, the googly-eyed alien, my eyes are spinning. Yeah. I don't know what we're doing. And it's the end of the school year. So that has me, like, we just finished Keystone testing this year due to some family illness. I did not get the Proctor test because they weren't sure. I wasn't sure if I was going to be in school or not. So I didn't have the Proctor. So that was like nice.
Okay.
That got me some time to work with some students. And then I helped out from the day all my students were taking the English Lit test. So I just kind of helped out with that and help cover study halls that day. So my mind is scrambled. And then they were talking today, like nobody knows what's going on with the offensive line.
Yeah. Listen, there's a lot of mysteries, a lot of places, and who's going to be this person, who's going to be that person. I heard about who was it? Darren Waller, the tight end. He went in and he had he was talking about how he went into Mike McDaniel's office and had a conversation with him. He's like, hey, Mike McDaniel's like, we love you. We want to sign you again for next year. You're going to be set to go. And he said, then Stephen Ross, the owner, came in, kind of reiterated a couple things. All right. Okay. All right. We got some interesting. I do like this part. We do have somebody listening from India.
But they just went inappropriate.
Keep it calm. But yeah. So that one's stuck on the screen there. Can you get rid of that, Don?
I don't even know how it got up there.
Nope. All right, you got it. Okay. So, but anyway, so he went in, had a conversation with Mike McDaniel. Everything looks good. Yada yada yada. Stephen Ross, the owner, comes in. Yeah, we really appreciate your play, this, that, and then he said it just got kind of awkward, and he kind of was like, and then Mike's like, oh hey, we'll catch up in a little bit. Just go do what you got to do. And he goes, he went downstairs to get a lift in or something, and as he was down there, like maybe an hour or two went by, and all of a sudden his phone dings. He pulls it up and it says Mike McDaniel was fired. And he's like, oh my word! Like literally, he was in talking to him, leaves, and then shortly after, Waller got let go. So anyway, the cleaning house started, but it's that cycle. It's picking different people up. But listen, buddy of mine, Coach Evans, Jari Evans, assistant O-line coach with the Steelers. They're going to help figure it out. Don't worry, he was
nice.
All pro inside lineman for the Saints back in the day.
We had a comment from one of the viewers. What's the podcast about? They're new here. Well, we start out with we call it witty banter. It's usually football talk or some kind of sports talk, and then get into ed tech talk. So we multitask over the course of our podcast.
Some family members complain about the witty banter, but that's okay. I digress. Yes. But yeah, so a lot going on there, and then sports in general. I guess how are the Pirates doing? Is this early in the season? So are they good or not? I don't know where we're at.
They're middling. Okay. They were really good. Then some team from out east.
Oh, I didn't even bring it up for any person. I have no idea
what. Some team from out east came in and whooped them.
all the talk around here is more Orioles talk than it is Phillies talk. So yeah,
we were sitting out back. Shout out to Kevin, my neighbor. He's taken on for the last I don't know how many years I've complained about the Pirates. This year, I actually have watched a couple games. And I'll probably be the one blamed for the curse. And we were watching on the back deck the other night, and they were up 6-0 or some ridiculous amount, and they lost in extra innings. Philadelphia came back and beat them. Then they shut them out the next two games. So yeah, Philadelphia has been not kind to us this spring.
Yeah, and honestly, that wasn't even a setup like it was before with the other hockey talk. So yeah, no, that's crazy. But yeah, speaking of sitting out back, though, I mean, again, we always have to talk about the weather in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
We had a little mid-winter deal. Now we're in a midsummer deal right now with the weather. And I know you guys got hit with the heat before we did. But yeah, last week, man, every night had a little fire in the outdoor fireplace, just kind of sitting, hanging out, looking at the sky. It was good stuff. Oh, you're getting no love from the comments. Way to go, Amy. Pile it on. And but yeah, so it's been gorgeous weather. That now, the heat's cranking. You said you got your pool together. I got in and I worked on getting some of the sludge and stuff taken care of. And I got to add some water and hit the chemicals. But yeah, on that way. But it's a wild time, man. All the weather up and down, and life's crazy. And yeah, my hair only looks dark because it's just freshly wet. Other than that, it's as white as the beard. So it's growing whiter and whiter as it goes. So the last month and a half, I've gotten thinner and grayer, and it's just oh man. But yeah, we're almost 90 degrees today. Yesterday, high 80s, 89 degrees. Tomorrow, 67. Not right. It's supposed to. Yeah, now you're gonna do a dip down to the end of the week.
I was sleeping with the winter sheets on till about 2 weeks ago because they were the fuzzy, not flannel, but heavy material, and it was just can't do it. And then I went to the summer light sheets, and it's gonna get cold again. The neighbors were like,
right, that's crazy.
Every time you open a pool, it's not me opening the pool. It's you guys trimming bushes and trying to plant things. Rip out plants that aren't all the way dead and put them back, put new ones in and move things. I like taking the neighbors' plants when they're not quite dead and planting them and then bringing them back. It's like huge monstrosity of bushes and trees and stuff.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, landscape is not my thing, not at all. Oh man, no. She just okay. So at least she's coming clean about the Flyers, right? Yeah, looking good for the future.
They did win a Stanley Cup back in the 70s, I think.
Time to cue the intro. All right, man. All right, man. Well, listen. We were dragging. We were messaging. I feel like when Monday was halfway over, I was like, "Is it Friday yet?" And today felt like a steamrolling truck. But the month is moving pretty fast, so I believe we're in the month of May. It feels like it's mid-October. Month, and we're
third week.
Third week. Third week. So I think, instead of delaying all of our wonderful viewers in India and other places, I think it's time for
the PACT pod.
Let's roll it. Welcome to the PACT Pod, a show for educators by educators. PACT is a 100% volunteer-run organization that focuses on education technology integrations in the classroom in Pennsylvania
and beyond.
My name is Eric Verno, privileged to be the past president of PACT, and with me, as always, my trusty co-host,
Dom Salvucci, and I'm the current president of PACT.
And today we are on episode 103. And it is, may your school year's end be kind to you.
Yeah, we're
saw that in the show notes. I don't know if you added that or not. I don't know where that clever note came from, but I'm like, we're going with that one.
That wasn't me.
Oh, okay. AI must have wrote it somehow, some way. It just showed up there. All right. But I like it. So yeah. So we had a Cinco de Mayo show, 2 weeks ago, and now this. And Yeah, but hell, so how is so you referenced Keystones and all that? How's that going?
We just finished our bio. So we have makeups. Where there'll be like pulling kids that missed, and we'll get the Keystone makeups. PSSAs are out of the way. I know when PSSAs, the Passage, as the cool kids call them, as I always say. When the Passage rolled out, the network crashed. The website crashed. We did not have that issue with Keystones. Went rather smoothly. A few hit and miss Chromebook issues, but it went rather smoothly, I believe. So that was a good thing. And wrapping up now. The main tests are done. It's just the stragglers who kids were absent, and we'll get them through. So our seniors are done end of this week, and then end of next week, I got to turn my grades in for my 10th graders.
Yeah, I got
we're here.
Yeah, I got my senior. So she, prom was this past weekend, and then following the prom, senior skip day, and then so I think she goes this week, and then she's done, and she's just got to go back for, the pomp and circumstance practice for graduation. So the 29th is graduation, and the Verno household is high school free after this, and now she'll be going to college, and but no more dealing with all of that, and so it's kind of crazy. And one of those scenarios where I was at a baby shower for a teacher in our building, and the husband came in to be there and was having a conversation with him, and I'm like, listen, the number one thing you're going to hate is when you're going through the thick of it and spit up, vomit, all that stuff with being a baby, and people are going to say, cherish these moments, and you're going to be like, I want to punch you in your face right now. I'm going through stress, but but as you go through it, as with your daughter being in college, and as the years go, you do look back fondly and have those moments, and it's like, maybe they were right there. Should have saved it a little bit more, kind of a deal. But but it's wild, man. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, so you guys have Keystone's done. You got to turn your grades in. Yeah, ours are due here soon. We go just into I think June 2nd, I think, is when our students' last day will be kind of a deal there. So, yeah.
Yeah, kids are done on a Friday this year. Last 2 years. But our last in-service day is a floating in-service day. So if we are done, we can do some remote work and be done with it. So,
gotcha.
That's always nice.
Yeah, our only trade-in day is if you go to graduation, you get out of the last half day. And I don't do that. Like, I come home, be with the family, and then but the last half day is just, finalizing, just putting stuff in, putting it away for the summer, getting it all ready, kind of a deal. So, all right. Mike Tyson in the area. They're done June 2nd as well. So, yeah, exciting. So, like I said, then we just have the 3rd is a PD day, and then the half day on the 4th. And, my daughter's graduation party on the 5th, and kind of cranking. So,
nice.
One Friday's graduation walk, the next Friday's a party, and then getting ready. She's going to be heading to Lock Haven University, amongst the Commonwealth University, but not the better Bloomsburg University. So
we'll see if you get the Commonwealth sweatshirt, you can wear it to Bloomsburg and to the other place.
Not allowed in this house. Listen, you go into the bookstore, and all the way in the back is where the Commonwealth stuff is. We're not there yet.
That's because they haven't sold out the Bloomsburg stuff yet. Got to get rid of the old. Got to get rid of the old stuff. You go into the dairy section. The old milk's up front. The milk that lasts longer is in the back.
Yep. All right, there we go. The Commonwealth University, the milk of colleges in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Good job. Dairy farmers.
Dairy's good for you.
Good stuff. All right, now. So then a lot of craziness. And of course, this time it's the teachers playing the "What's the temperature in my classroom going to be today?" game, and who's in control of X, Y, and Z. So I don't know if it's your building kind of like that, where you walk in and some days you got the heated room, the ice room, and all that jazz.
It's been consistent. I think like the last show when the temperatures were up and down real crazy, because our system, they run like a chiller system, and now they don't have to swap out the fluid. Before they would have to switch from one fluid to another. And once you switched over, you were done.
Couldn't go back.
Now, though, like they said, because we were like in the 20s, and then it went up to like the 80s, and then it went back down. They can switch it over, without having to swap fluid out of the entire system.
Mhm.
But they have to let it cool down from before they can run the chillers. They have to let all the water from the boilers cool down, and that takes a couple days. So we've been pretty good. But like I have some old jackets, because whenever I was doing the student talk show, What's Up New Brighton, I had some sport coats. So when kids do presentations or they're filming stuff for class, if they want to do like a newscast, I have the sport coats they can wear. I have a Mr. Rogers sweater. It's gray, but it's still the cardigan sweater. So I have kids, and one girl I taught her mom way back in the day. She's sitting there curled up on a chair, shivering. I said, "What's the matter?" She goes, "It's freezing in here." I'm like, "Well," I said, "I told you day one when you sat there." I says, "You're lined up directly with the heat." I says, "It shoots straight across from the ceiling vent right to where you're sitting, and that's going to get you the air conditioning." So I gave her the sport coat to where she curled up underneath that while she was doing work today. He's like, "Thank you." I'm like, "You're welcome." I said, "They're both clean." I says, "It's not a problem." I says, "They're okay," but I said, you're sitting where you're getting hit with the wind." I said, it's
Not a good seat. Yeah.
yeah. But my
Yeah, well,
room is consistently cool. Or
we
when
were
it's
dealing-
time it's warm.
Yeah, and our problem is it just averages out. But our room was like ice cold for a while, and kids are, I'm like, get your sweatshirts, you're fine. Because I'm not going to complain, because when the weather gets warm and we still have this cold, we're going to be happy. In the last couple of days, I guess Friday and Monday, I'm like, it was warm, and I'm like, this isn't working in my favor here. And I was trying to be good. Today I walk in, I'm like, much better. Okay, very good. So hoping for that to continue, but that's why I always jump over our science lab, because it's two different sides of the hall where our teacher classrooms are, and then where the science lab is, and it's just an average the way it works out. But and so sometimes I'll assign someone like going to Alaska. If the room's too hot, we're gonna go to the science lab. So, and vice versa. So, but yeah, it's kind of crazy, but it's always the talk of how everybody's building reacts and trees. But yeah, and especially with the weather, like this weekend, it's gonna take a dive down again. So we got the heat. We hit. I think my car yesterday when I got end of the day, go out, I'm like, oh, it's kind of stuffy, and the car registered like 101. It was about 94, 95 on the drive home, and then today it felt muggier. But it was about 90 when at the end of the day, about 90 degrees. So, running the kids at recess, I was trying to teach a couple of kids that they have decent legs. So I started my informal punting camp, trying to recruit punters for our future football team. And then I picked those kids that just need to get their energy out. Like, go deep. I'll kick a couple to you so you can catch it, and get a couple angles on it where they have to run a little bit. My teacher is like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm working them out." The other teachers are gonna be happy I tired them out here, and they're gonna have a nice quiet afternoon. So I got a quick phone call. "What did you do to so and so?" And I'm like, "Don't worry, it's all good. It's all above board. I took care of them." So, but yeah, so we were having fun. But yeah, it's been a while since after the hip replacement. It's been a while since I've been trying to do some punting. So it's been interesting, making me kind of feel young a little bit. But yeah. When I'm limping to school tomorrow, I'll remember I was doing that today. But yeah, so we got a lot of different things going on, and we're churning and burning. I think we're going to do a little tech news, talk about PACT, and because everybody's time is very valuable, and I got a stack of papers I got to grade after. We're going to try to keep it tight and neat tonight. What do you think?
Yep, and right now it hasn't rained. It rained earlier today. But we got storms coming in, so I want to make sure I got all the hatches battened down, as they say. Winterized, got to bring the flag in and stuff, because besides the rain, I have a light on it. But if it's wind real windy, I don't want it launching across someone's yard and going through a window or anything like that.
Yeah, that's all right. If it hits Kevin's, he was slow to help you take the tarp off, so it's okay. Serves him right. All right, man, we're gonna have you kick it off with tech notes. Here we go.
So, this is going to be interesting. Let's sitting there. I get several different emails every day come through with different tech news, and this one was Alexa Plus. Now, I don't have my device. My device goes off right now. I don't have any devices that run Plus. I can run it on my phone. So if you have the app on your computer or you have the app on your phone, you can run the Plus. Otherwise, you have to have the newer devices. I have older ones, and they work fine, so I'm not worried about upgrading them. But this comes out. They have a new AI-generated audio episode on any topic. Now, I have, like, on mine, I have the different phrases you can use with the devices to get them to go, and I have one that gives me news every morning, and you can go in and program, like, I do, like, BBC World News. I do a couple, like, one national news. I used to do a local news, but it pretty much covered the national news. It was redundant. Weather. You can do jokes. You can set up different things with it. So it's nice. You're sitting there getting coffee ready to say a phrase, and everything pops up. You don't have to worry about the television or watching things. It'll just play wherever you're at.
Yeah.
But this, the way it's set up, you can go in and create podcasts, kind of like Notebook LM is how they're advertising it. I haven't tried it yet because I just saw this today. Mm-hmm. You can generate podcast style episodes on virtually any topic in just minutes. So it's all like Notebook LM. You have to go in and type, or I always upload my notes and discussion notes from class and make podcasts based on that and videos based on that. This will do it.
Yeah.
Just by asking. So how it works, custom audio content's now effortless. No documents, no prep work. Just tell Alexa what the topic you're curious about and do a podcast. Now, here's the only catch. Because AI does hallucinate and because AI does get things wrong, you're not guaranteed everything's going to be accurate. But, it is something, it'll be interesting. Like, if you're using it for something fun, like this week's biggest music releases. Although, like, I've been reading on some of the news feeds, some of the songs are AI generated. So it'll be interesting to see if it's, including the AI generated songs, or if it's just going with, human made songs. So different topics. It goes over all this, and I skimmed over this earlier today. And then they have some of the podcast episodes. So it sounds a little bit like Notebook LM voices, because they are the AI voices.
Can we just acknowledge the range of what's come out this month? Over 50% of music consumption is now coming from unsigned artists.
The monoculture is just gone.
Completely gone, and you've got Stone.
So it'll be the conversational podcast back and forth. It'll be interesting to play with it and see if it's worth using. I'm sure it'll get better as time goes on. I still like my regular news sites, but this would be something interesting that driving to work. I know you're big into podcasts. I don't really drive. My drive isn't that long for me to get into podcasts that often, so I still catch terrestrial morning radio for the most part, unless I'm hitting the commercial cycle. Then I'll jump over to Sirius XM and I'll listen to my first wave or something like that. Just like I said, I have like 15-20 minute drive. So by the time we start getting the good part of the podcast, I'm in the parking lot, and I can't sit in the parking lot and just listen to the podcast. So
yeah, rock it with your put your AirPods in and walk into school and just ignore everybody, right? Yeah, it's not my style.
Yeah.
So I like that. I will say Copilot does have, and I've used it a little bit, not heavily, but where you can kind of like hit it and say, hey, pull together a podcast of today's top, tech news or, whatever. And you can give it that. It's going to give you a little bit. But the one thing this has that doesn't is it's got the hardware, right? Not just your phone. Yeah. But if you have, I think my daughter and son-in-law, they have the Alexa devices in their home. We have the Google Homes and Minis. At the time they were pumping those up, we were getting those you got it like with you. Oh, did you buy toothpaste today? Here's a free mini, So I got one in every bedroom kind of a deal. And with the microphones, somewhat turned off, then you can do it separately, but more speakers. But so I like that with the hardware. I think that's definitely, again, doing that. And the other thing too is it's I am 100% an auditory learner.
Yeah.
So again, reading stuff is laborious for me. I tell my students that all the time. And if I'm having to I read short form, we jokingly said my wife and I were going to create a book. She reads books. I read blogs, and I can read it in short, like RSS feeds and short stuff. But even some of that, when it gets long, I get tired. you know. So being able to kind of pull that stuff and put it into that audio format, it's great, you know.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. That's a good find.
Yeah,
Good find.
thanks. And you know, the nice thing is you don't have to take the time to go in and type it in. You know, you're doing an audio search. So
yeah,
sit there and like with me, the devices aren't really expensive. I just don't have any updated ones because the ones I have are still work. And honestly, I hooked mine up to like my I still have some of the original dots, and I've hooked them up to Bluetooth speakers and surround sound speakers. So the audio is fantastic. I'm like, I just can't see upgrading for, you know, really not improving because I hook them up to the better speakers and run everything that way. But it's something to think about, and you know, like I can run it off my phone and then stream it wherever.
Yeah, I like it. Good stuff. All right, great way to kick off the tech notes. Let's bust into another one. Here we go. I'll hit this one. If only I was really opening a vault and money was pouring out. All right, so you know, I almost look at this as a reaction to the MacBook Neo, but it's also reminiscence of back. There used to be a thing called the Pixelbook. So it was it was kind of like, you know, Google was putting out the hardware at the higher end to kind of show manufacturers how to do it. Pixelbooks went for like $1,000, you know. But the coolest thing about them, you know, like back in the day, one of the coolest features of Mac was the glowing apple, right? I mean, that was really cool. Not sure why they don't bring that back, but that was a cool feature, right? The Pixelbooks had like a rainbow kind of bar, but it was like the different segments of the Google logo kind of a deal. People joked it looked like Knight Rider kind of a deal. So they came out with the Google Book. They're still, I think, finding their way to convince people because pricing's not out. They talk about the different people, they're, you know, different Asus, you know, Acer, you know, HP, Lenovo. Like they're going to work with the different vendors. One of them is absent from it, so I may have said one that's not listed. But if you go and read the form, but basically they're taking Android and Chrome OS and melding it together in the platform, right? They're also taking the cue from Johnny Ives. So the software, the OS is going to be called Aluminium. And so they're kind of like pulling in the different things. They're going to be pulling with by using the Android, you're going to be able to use more of the chips, kind of like, again, the MacBook Neos using the cell phone chips kind of a deal. So you're going to use a lot of that tech, like the Surface on or the system on a chip. A lot of that hardware that they're using in some faster Qualcomm's pumping out some CPUs and stuff. So that's the thinking with it. I don't know. I just want to, you know, throw that out there. The pricing is going to be a big thing, you know, because Chromebooks in general are relatively cheap, but they're very basic. You know, one of the things about this is you look at the picture I have on the screen where it has like, it's going to have windowing. So it's going to feel more like a Mac or more like a Windows device. So it's not going to be like locked into a browser where some people don't care for that. They've been trying to do the split screens and trying to break away a little bit with it. But this is the goal is to come out. The big thing when you hear a lot of the different tech pundits talk, they haven't really sold why. What's the why? You know, is it just a play to battle the Neo? I don't know. But yeah, so that happened. So they did a specific rollout of this 2 weeks ago. And then just today, it's not really a tech notice. It's not its own segment, but Google I/O happened. So there's going to be a lot of stuff in the news cycle, different things that are going to be coming out. But I've not had time to even look at anything or any of my normal spots. But you know, within the week or two, the podcasts that come out that I dorkily listen to on the drive. But they'll talk a little bit about it. But I'm curious what because I/O is a developer conference. What are they talking about that's going to roll into this? Obviously, Gemini is going to play a huge part in it. And like you talked about, you alluded to the Notebook LM, which is amazing and it's free, you know, and all the stuff you could do there. So a lot of that's going to be pulling in. And what they're referring to is a term for everybody to start getting used to is called agentic AI. And basically that's saying like, it's going to be you're creating agents to do stuff for you. And I've been really like pondering how to set that up. I know I talked to you a while back about looking at Claude and coming up with a whole scheme for us to use for the podcast. But in the classroom and stuff, like, you know, what are the things that you're doing, you know, every day that are kind of mundane, how can I save time by having some kind of agentic AI run some things on the computer while I'm teaching, doing work. And that's going to be, how do you harness it? Again, I go back to our early beginnings of having those conversations with AI when we were in the boardroom and the thought partner concept. And that's truly what they're really trying to build it out. Yeah. But we have to be smart to put it into a scenario where it's really helping us in that scenario. But it's going to be interesting,
Yeah, it will be. And I was up 2 weeks ago, the 8th. I was up at the Northwest PA STEM ecosystem, and we were talking about that up at Penn West Edinburgh, and that's where things are going, like using these different tools to run information on the background, collate information for you, so you can, the information is accurate because you're feeding it in what you want it to read. It'll do what you need to do with it, so you can take a look at it, interpret it, and then apply it. And you could even, based on your systems and what you want to do with it, like come up with plans for working with students in different scenarios. Obviously being careful with the information that you're putting in, so you're not giving up any information you shouldn't be, but it takes a lot of gives you an outline and saves you time. Like when I first started using it, it was a grad assistant for me, basically. Take this, turn this into, an 8th grade reading level, turn this into a college reading level, and things of that nature. And now it's going to take it and do the processing behind the scenes, grabbing, the content and going through and doing things like that, which is pretty cool, because that's the time consuming part. As much as I enjoy teaching, it's the paperwork and that drudgery is what is a drag, and it takes away time working with the kids. Mm-hmm. So if you can take care of that, I'm still not comfortable like you letting AI do my grading, because you upload a rubric and stuff, and it's very cut and dry. Like, nope, didn't meet the criteria. Here's where you're at. But I'm thinking, but we talked, and like for this student, it's actually pretty good. So for them, that could, be over, because I'm not cut and dry on my rubrics. It's like, here's what you're supposed to do. But there are gray areas where, we've talked in class, and and I'll tell them, like, when you turn this in, remind me, like, we had this conversation that, this isn't quite the right format, but for what we're doing, we're good. And, or this isn't, you found this resource and we're accepting it because we did some background research. It doesn't quite fit the criteria, but it's acceptable for what we're doing, and it doesn't take that into consideration, and you can't plug all of those. It's like, I always tell people it's easier to be in the classroom than it is to come up with a sub plan for somebody to be in your classroom, because you can respond on the fly. If certain student is, if they're doing something, what to do. You don't have to leave a detailed note that, if this student's doing something, here's how to de-escalate it, or here's how to get them back on task, or watch for this. It's just, because you're there.
But so speaking of that, I don't know if you were, I think you were there, board meeting in State College. Do you remember the student teachers that were going by, and we assumed they were teachers because they had T-shirts on that said,
yes,
Alexa wrote my lesson plans. You remember that?
Yes.
That was a few years ago. And I'm like, but I really feel like they haven't progressed. I don't even know where you would go to look for that stuff, but it kind of goes back to that, like, creating like lesson plans for subs and stuff. That's one of the most tedious things there is. But yeah, so it's definitely interesting. But and even you look at like the basics of Google Forms, now it's binary reading. If I wrote my name, capital E-R-I-C space capital V-E-R, but then the kid writes it with lowercase, it may not register it. Oh, then they fix that. Now it's registering. It's not cap sensitive.
Yeah.
If I put 2 spaces in between my name, it's going to mark it wrong because it's an IO conversion. So where, so even like at the basic form, it's computer, machine learning in essence, a very basic form, when it's great in that. But is AI going to go a little bit further with some of the stuff it does? So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what we got. All right. Do you have another tech note?
Nope. That was the big one today.
All right. That's it. We got 2. Okay. All right, and we'll be talking about more stuff. And since I mentioned MacBook Neo, I do believe they ran out of all the Pro chips they were using. So the crazy thing is, if you got a Mac Neo a month ago, you're using an older chip that now they're putting in. I think it's the 18 processor. They went from the 17 Pro to 18 Pro, but because it's doing so well, so it's actually on the newest chip, I believe, that's out there. But that's your little tidbit. After listening to the show, Tim Cook was like, "Hey, we need to work on this because it's the PACT pod talked about it. So even though we've already sold 10 million, we're going to sell 20 million more because the show's so popular." So
we are climbing up the Ed Tech podcast in PA.
I didn't check it today. I want to make it a big surprise. Once a month, we'll talk about that. I don't want to get our heads too big. I mean, being 22 in the state, we got to get when football season starts and Penn State starts kicking us back down, then we'll really feel good. But I think we're going to roll into some PACT news nuggets. So here we go. All right. So just as we're winding down, we've got the month of May, the May 30th, or no, I'm sorry. They already had the Extra Miles Reward Canva tasting event happen. I heard it was amazing. I was able to make it. Tonight, the gang goes to Topgolf. So we got Southeast PA. That group is cranking out at Topgolf in King of Prussia. Obviously I was here, wasn't able to make it there, so I'm sure they're having a great time. So hopefully, I've never been to a Topgolf, so
they're nice. We've been there. We've had some after Tretzy out here in Southwest PA.
Okay,
it's a nice setup.
All right, so now in the month of June, June 7th, South Central PHT is going to be at the Harrisburg Senators on City Island, a beautiful venue. And then we have our in-person board meeting happening in June. And then right after our in-person board meeting, not that this is on the PHT notes, if anybody cares, but I will be sitting in jury duty, cranking out, because I had to bump it because originally I was scheduled to do jury duty during Pete and C conference. Probably would have been a good one. I know, crazy. Yeah. All right, let's check the guide show. Nope, good.
No, also, we're still in the middle of Remake Learning Days. So remakelearningdays.org, still going on. I had 2 great events in Elwood City, and we'll go on with the Glide Show.
Yeah, just want to give a shout out to our South Central Regional Director, Jeremy, getting that Glide Show updated. No pressure on the other regional directors. Lots of pressure. Make sure to get that Glide Show updated. So, but they've got that kicking off. But I do know month is kind of I call it our reload month. All of the regional boards will come together and they'll get together in June and try to lay out what is the year going to look like. What are the events going to be? We always try to have it ready for end of July when we have our KTI group get together and all that. So that way we're kind of cranking it out and we're able to kind of show all the KTI stars. Here's what PHT has to offer. So we love sharing that information. So a lot of the boards are working on coming up with those good ideas. So
if you have ideas, reach out to your regional director, reach out to us at pod at pact.org, or reach out to members of the executive board and tell them your idea. If there's something, in your neck of the woods, as they say, that you would like to host, and you're not in the general area, I know, the regions are rather big. They're kind of sprawling. So let us know and reach out. We'll tell you what you have to do to host an event.
That's it. Yeah, they're always looking for ideas. And listen, educators, tech coaches, your boots on the ground. What you're seeing, share with them. It's all about that conversation, that knowledge share. And I've said it so many times that my favorite thing about ed camps was the phrase, "The smartest person in the room is the room." And members of the board, past presidents, current presidents, regional directors, we all feel the same way, right?
Yeah.
We're showing up, we're lesson planning, we're getting stuff together, we're in the trenches, and that's why I love that PHT is an organization that's for teachers by teachers, 100% volunteer, and the fact that we are living it day in and day out. So, but as you share, do not think, we say it all the time, there's no such thing as a stupid idea, right? But honestly, throw it out there, But this is the first year there's been Topgolf on the thing. The Harrisburg Senators, first time they're doing that. They've done some hockey games, so they're trying to do different things across the state. So it's exciting stuff. So yeah, if you're possibly going to be interested into it, there's going to be some other people that are interested as well. So share that idea. All right, good stuff. Well, like I said, we were going to keep it tight and neat. All right, We're going to make sure we got in and got out. It's kind of like how Kevin likes to help you with your pool. Show up late, early. So that's going to be our motto there. So give him a big shout out there. Appreciate everybody who's listening. You're walking those dogs. All right, take care of them. Take care of your steps. And yeah, hopefully, again, may your school years end. Be kind to you. We've got, your last days of school, all your parties, your different things that you're doing, classroom videos. Everybody's putting together all the stuff, all the cool things that you do for your educators or for your students. I'm sorry. And just remember, some of those kids that are giving you the hardest time right now, they're not letting you know with words, but the reality is, you've been there for them for these 174 days. You're not going to be there for a little bit, and they're getting nervous about it. So
yep.
I didn't always keep that in perspective. You are the North Star for a lot of students, and some of their outbursts are really just their way of trying to cope with the struggles that they have. So, yeah. Any closing thoughts on that, Dom?
No, I mean, that's, a lot of people, like, we look forward to weekends. We look forward to summer break, recharging. There are a lot of people that don't, because that's not a stable time for them. So you always have to keep that in mind. Just not everybody views things the same way, and there's usually a reason for the behavior.
That's it. And it's easy to say when you're not in the midst of it, right? Because we've all been there when kids are acting up. I jokingly say sometimes some of those kids, they know teachers struggle with separation anxiety. So they're trying to make it really easy that you're not going to feel bad that they're going home. But the reality is, right, refocus, recenter. What was the one speaker, Pete and Steve, his shirt, because kids. And that's what it boils down to. So, be who you are for the kids that need you, because that's what they need. And they're in your room for a reason. So hopefully you'll have a great end of the school year.
I have a senior, one last story. The senior that's graduating, and I've helped with advice over the years. And they're like, can you give me a Post-it with advice on it? Just short, not a real long one, because I have to read this and I don't want to keep reading long paragraphs. So I have like a little motivational sticker. So I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty cool. You'd be surprised.
Yeah. That is awesome stuff. All right, man. Well, from York, PA to Pittsburgh, PA to all across Pennsylvania and beyond, we truly appreciate you all being here. And remember, as always,
PACT. We are.
Oh, the voice of EdTech
in Pennsylvania
and
beyond.
All right. Thank you so much. One day we're going to rehearse this and nail it. Who knows? All right. Take care.
Take care, everybody. PACT and the PACT pod would like to thank all of our sponsors. Our Tier 3 sponsors, EduSpire, Tech the Next Step. Our Tier 2 sponsors, ClassLink, more time learning, less time logging in. Teachers First. SAM Labs, engaging and effective K-8 STEM and STEAM educational solutions. Lego Education. Toddle, teacher-built, AI first, more than an LMS. Once again, PAECT and the PAECT pod would like to thank all of our sponsors for the support that allow us to do what we do. Thank you.